Crime 411, and I want to remind everybody that our content is not suitable for young audiences and that viewer discretion is advised. We have more information regarding the disappearance of Evelyn Boswell, who went missing 2 months ago in Tennessee, but was only officially reported missing a week ago. We know that the baby's mother, Maggie Boswell, is now in Sullivan County Jail on a $25,000 bond. She was arrested last night and charged with reporting false reports to police. I think everybody who's been following this case has kind of just been waiting for this to happen. We all know that Maggie has consistently lied to law enforcement and changed her story constantly. In fact, Sheriff Cassidy did a press conference today, and he said that her story changes literally every single time they speak with her. So she is in Sullivan County Jail, and we also have some information from her grandfather, who is her mother Angela's father, and his name is David Jones. And he told the Bristol Herald Courier yesterday that he thinks Megan has more information about Evelyn's disappearance than she has shared. And he said when they do find out the truth, Megan will be at the bottom of it. Now, he did say that his daughter Angela, which is Evelyn's grandmother, had been staying with him and her mother for a few weeks earlier this month. So in early February, she stayed with their family, with her parents, for 2 weeks. And during that 2-week period, Mr. Jones did say that he was there when Maggie and Hunter, Maggie's boyfriend, gifted Angela, the grandmother, with that BMW that was actually part of that Amber Alert. Now, we all know that the grandmother and her boyfriend were arrested in South Carolina in regard to that Amber Alert, but they were not charged with anything related to Evelyn. They were charged with possession of stolen property because apparently the vehicle that they were driving that was gifted to them by Megan, otherwise known as Maggie, was reported stolen. That vehicle actually belonged to her boyfriend Hunter's mother, which this whole web of information just gets crazier and crazier the more we find out. In any event, there was Mr. Jones, Angela Boswell, the grandmother's father, did say that he was there when that car was gifted to Angela. He said that Maggie and Hunter came to his home and they turned the vehicle off and then they couldn't get it to start again. And they asked him to come outside to see if he could help, and he did. And he said that at that point, Hunter, Maggie's boyfriend, told Angela, the grandmother, that he would have the title transferred over into her name within a few days. That never happened. Whatever money was supposed to be exchanged for the vehicle never happened. And so when the Amber Alert was issued for this vehicle, the car was reported as stolen, and Angela Boswell, grandma, and her boyfriend were arrested in South Carolina in connection with that vehicle. He said the great-grandfather, Evelyn's great-grandfather, Maggie's grandfather, said that for the entire 2-week period that his daughter, baby's grandma, was staying with him, that pretty much almost every single day for those 2 weeks, Maggie and Hunter came to visit with them and hung out with them a lot. He said they were there almost every day, and Evelyn was not there at all. He said the last time that he saw the baby was before Thanksgiving, and that his wife kept asking Maggie to bring Evelyn around because they wanted to visit with her, and she just wouldn't do it. So that brings us to the next piece of information that has since come out. And in just a moment, I'm going to have a lady named Ashley join me, and she's going to call in. She reports that she actually saw Evelyn alive a few weeks before she was reported missing. She works at a KFC in North Carolina and said that she is certain that the baby she saw a few weeks ago was Evelyn Boswell. She's going to be right. So here we go. Okay, with me now, joining me on the phone is Ashley, the lady that says she is certain she saw Evelyn Boswell a few weeks before she went reported missing in KFC in North Carolina. Thank you so much, Ashley, for joining us.
You're more than welcome.
So this has to be really hard for you, knowing that you saw this baby a few weeks ago before she went reported missing, and there hasn't been any sighting of her since.
Yeah, it is. It is hard. Because like I said, if I knew that she was missing, I wouldn't even let her leave KFC with her grandma or her grandma's boyfriend.
So you are certain that it was Evelyn and that she was there with the grandmother and the grandmother's boyfriend?
Yes, ma'am. I'm 100% sure. When I seen her, the mugshot of her boyfriend and her, and then the other pictures they showed with his beard, I remember the tattoo on his face, the cross, the tattoo on his neck, and his beard.
And that's a very clear thing to remember, too.
Oh, yeah, I'm good at remembering people's faces. I can see you one time, and I will talk to you every time I see you. I will recognize you. I might not know your name, but I will say hey to you.
Sure. I have right now, there's the picture of Angela Boswell, which is Evelyn's grandmother, and the picture that you're talking about with her boyfriend, William Boyd, showing, like you stated, the cross tattoo on his face. And in this picture, he has, of course, the beard. And when we spoke earlier, you said that is what he looked like when they came in that day. He had not shaved. So the new mugshot is not how you remember him, right?
No, the new mugshot, no, he shaved, I guess, before he got caught, but he had that beard and everything. Like I said, I remember it like it was, yesterday. And yeah, I have a lot of customers to come in and stuff, but I know all of them. I say hey to them. I don't know all of them's names, but even people that don't come in all the time, I know them. I speak to them. I even remember their orders. I used to be a head waitress at Jim's Grill, so I'm used to this.
Yeah. What can you tell me? Were the grandmother and the boyfriend, were they acting strangely? Were they attentive to the baby? What can you tell me about that?
Well, the grandma was holding the baby, and the boyfriend, they kind of acted a little sketchy, especially the boyfriend, because he was just kind of whispering in her ear, and then he went and sat down.
Whispering in the baby's ear or in the grandmother's ear?
In the grandmother's ear.
Okay.
And I don't know what was said or not like that, but he went and sat down, and she ordered, a meal for him and a meal for her. And, so I went back there and packed their meal, brought it out to them, and actually brought it to their table, set it down. And one of my managers that was working, he was up there taking orders, and I went back to the counter. I said, hey, can I get this little girl applesauce? And he was like, yeah, go ahead. I was like, okay. And I went over there because we had these little applesauce packets.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went and took her an applesauce packet and gave it to her, and she was just smiling, and she was so beautiful. I remember, she was just beautiful, the blonde hair and blue eyes, just beautiful. And the grandma was like, say thank you, and her smiling. I was like, no, her smile enough is a thank you. I said, she ain't got to say nothing.
So you really do remember very clearly the day that she came in. So when you say that you brought her applesauce, did they not order anything for her to eat?
No. No, they didn't.
Do you remember if she had a sippy cup or a drink or anything like that?
She did have a sippy cup, and because I was going to hand her a juice, but I see she had a sippy cup. It did have drink in it already, so, I didn't offer, another juice for her.
Mm-hmm.
I do that with all the kids that come in there. I give them cookies or applesauce because there's actually another little girl comes in there that kind of resembles the little girl that's missing.
Mm-hmm.
But she's a little bit older, and she comes in there with her dad all the time, blonde hair, blue eyes too, and they actually came in the same day.
Oh, really?
And yes. And when I seen her, that's who she kind of reminded me of, that little girl that comes in all the time. And I was like, wow, man, because they're just so beautiful. And I give her applesauce and stuff all the time when they come in. And, so I do it with all the kids. But But there was just something about it just gave me a feeling like, you know, I was sitting there thinking, I was like, what is she doing with that little girl, you know? And then I was like, well, maybe it's her grandma, you know what I'm saying? And so I didn't think nothing of it, you know, and so I went about my business, and then, you know, a couple of weeks later, I got on Facebook, and I seen that she was missing. I was like, and that's when I seen the mugshot, and I was like, oh, wait, that's the people that came in. That's that little girl that I gave the applesauce to.
Wow. And so I imagine, of course, that you reported it immediately to the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation or to Sullivan County Sheriff Department.
I called the TBI and reported to them. After I talked to my one manager, and you know, was asking him if he remembered it, and he remembered it too. You know, remember me taking the applesauce to the little girl, and he kind of vaguely remembers the guy. Because I actually showed him pictures. He's like, yeah, I remember him. And I was like, yeah. I was like, that's that little girl that's missing. Because, are you serious? I was like, yeah. So after I talked to him, I was like, well, hey, I'm going to run outside, smoke me a cigarette, you know, before we open up. He's like, that's fine. So I came outside, I got the number, and I called and reported it. Gave them my number, who to contact, you know, when they call to get the videos and stuff, so they can view our videos to, you know, confirm that she was there.
Right, right. Well, I'm so glad that you did report it. And, you know, some people might question themselves and say, well, maybe it wasn't her and maybe I shouldn't call it in. But I am very glad that you did call it in. And when you and I spoke, go ahead. I'm sorry. You can go ahead.
I mean, even if you think you've seen a missing child, I mean, still call and report it, because it doesn't matter if it is the child or not. I mean, you know, it could be and it might not be, you know.
Right. But you're pretty confident that this was Evelyn Boswell.
Oh, yes, I'm 100% confident. I mean, but like I said, I got kids, you know. If one of my kids missing, I didn't care, you know, even if it's just somebody that looks like my kid. At least I know people are out there searching for my kid, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm 100% positive it was her. And I mean, like I said, I recognize that boyfriend and his tattoos and stuff, because I got tattoos, so I look at people's tattoos all the time.
Sure, yeah.
And
Makes
that's,
sense.
you know, one thing that stuck out to me too when I seen his picture and his mugshot.
You sent me a picture earlier that I am sharing right now, a picture of Evelyn. And of course, it's not a picture from the day that you're talking about, but it is a picture of her with her hair up on the top, and she has a little sweater on with hearts. And you said her hair was very similar to this photo of her the day that you saw her. And can you just kind of go over again what it was that she was wearing? Do you remember?
Well, I don't remember like the shirt or jacket she had on, but she had on a black pair of leggings, like kind of like pants, leggings, you know. She had her hair up in a little bow, like it is in the picture, and she had one shoe on, which was like a kind of white and pink kind of shoe, and on her right foot, and then her left foot, there wasn't no shoes. She had a sock on.
Okay.
Which I also thought was weird too. But then again, my kids take shoes off all the time. But you know, when I get out of the car, I put them back on them.
Yeah,
You know,
my son used to take his shoes off all the time, and I can honestly tell you sometimes there was one shoe on, sometimes there were none. But but I'm glad that you are remembering to that level of detail, because that is important. You said that William McCloud, the grandmother's boyfriend, was kind of shady. What in particular? And also, did the grandmother seem afraid of him, or was she comfortable with him?
No, she was comfortable with him. I mean, she didn't seem afraid at all. But I mean, you kind of tell that he's a little bit controlling a little bit, you know. But just by his demeanor and his, you know, the way he was in the store, he just, you know, it just stood out to me. You know what I'm saying? It just, I don't know. I just had a feeling that something was just not right. I mean, the whole time, and you know, I just couldn't put my finger on it until I seen the little girl being missing.
Just your intuition kicking in there. Did you happen to see what vehicle they were in at the time, or did you not get a glimpse of that?
Oh yeah, they parked, you know, close to the door at the KFC, and it was, well, they say it's gray, but where I'm from, gray is kind of like silver to us. So
Okay.
we have a different opinion, you know, on
Yeah.
colors, but it's silver and gray is basically the same thing. But it was the exact same car. I mean, the color of the car, but I didn't get, you know, like the make and model, you know, and I even told the investigator that I talked to, I didn't get the make and model, but it was, you know, a silver or, you know, gray car.
Do you think it was the same car that was part of the Amber Alert? Did you see the picture of that car?
I did, and yes, it was the car.
Okay, so I know you don't know an exact day that you did see these folks at the KFC, but can you give us an approximate time frame? How far was it before the Amber Alert, if you had to guess?
Um, I want to say it was probably between like the 22nd of January. This is just a ballpark figure, down there down to, and probably close to maybe Valentine's Day,
Okay.
somewhere around there.
Okay. So that definitely gives us a picture. Did you hear any conversation amongst them? I know you said he was whispering in her ear. Did you pick up on anything else that they were talking about?
No, no.
No.
Like when I came to the table, they were talking, and then they got quiet, and I handed her applesauce, and they was like, "Well, tell her thank you." They didn't even call her by her name or nothing like that I can recall.
Hmm.
And and I told her, I was like, "No, she ain't gotta thank me. Just tell her smile alone is a thank you enough." And I walked off, and they continued talking. But besides what I didn't hear them say anything or nothing like that.
Would you happen to have an idea of how long they were in the restaurant?
Uh, Probably. Well, I really don't know. I mean, I guess long enough to eat. Probably like 30 to 40 minutes, maybe, give and take.
Okay, and which location again was this? Which KFC?
The one in Yadkinville, North Carolina.
Okay,
It's
so
not far. It's not far from Wilkes County. I mean, it's probably like maybe an hour drive, if that.
that is what I was just going to ask you. Right now, I have a picture, the picture that you sent me of the booth that they were sitting in at that KFC, and I know today they're looking in a pond in Wicks County in North Carolina, based on a tip that they received. That they would not say where the tip came from, but they did say it was a new tip. How far is, if you know, how far is that pond from the KFC where you saw them?
Well, that I don't know. I was trying myself to figure out where the pond was at so I could know. And what I did heard was that the grandma owns some land right there beside the pond.
Okay.
And yes, and so that's why they're searching the pond and I guess the land and stuff around trees and everything to see if she's possibly there.
Well, I hope to God that she's not there.
Me too. I mean, that just like when I seen that, it put a sinking feeling in my chest. I was like, oh Lord.
I know. One of the things that I want to point out is that Crime 411, we did verify with Sullivan County Sheriff's Office that yes, this tip has been called in. This is a legitimate tip. And you had mentioned something earlier, Ashley, when we spoke, and you had said that police are planning to come out to the KFC location on Monday to go through video footage, which was shocking to me because that's 5 days from now. And here you are saying that you saw this little girl. She was alive. She was with the folks that were arrested in regard to the Amber Alert. And I asked them to verify whether or not that was actually accurate, that they would not be going out to that location until Monday to go through video footage, and they declined to answer. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I was talking to somebody last night, and she was asking me the same thing, and I didn't know, exactly when they would be out, because when I called her, because I was at work when she called, and when she called the first time, she asked for Kimberly, and I was like, I'm sorry, you got the wrong number. And
When
I hung
the
up.
investigator
No,
asked?
yeah, and we're really not supposed to have phones at work or on us, but I keep mine on me because, well, I have like this little walking thing on my phone, and that's the only reason, the only reason I keep my phone on me.
And you have kids.
And she called back, and it was the same number, and I mean, we was busy. There was only three of us Tuesday working when she called back. And I answered. I said, look, I was like, you just called a while ago. You got the wrong number. I was like, I'm busy at work. And that's when she stopped. She goes, no, I didn't have the right number. She goes, you called in about, I said, yes, ma'am. I said, I'm so sorry. I didn't know who this was. She goes, no, I apologize because I said the wrong number or the wrong name. Because I really didn't give my name to them. I wanted to kind of be anonymous, know. And because I don't know how my work's going to perceive this.
Well, if they
But
perceive it as any way other than you trying to help find a little girl, then I have concerns about where you work. But it seems like they're being supportive. You said your manager remembered seeing them also, right?
yes, and she told me when I got a chance to call her back, and so we slowed down a little bit. So I told the girl that was working the drive thru, I was like, look, I'm gonna go use the bathroom real fast. And so I went in there, and that's when I called her and gave her all this information. I even told her that my general manager was there at the time, and she can go ahead and call and talk to him and figure out, when they could come watch the videos, because I don't know if I don't know if he could pull them up or not. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So and we had this guy that always comes in to view our videotapes. And I mean, they go back for months, so I know the tapes are still there because they watch us all the time. I mean, they go back for months.
Sure.
And so I know the tapes are still there. And so I didn't know if they would have to call him in to go back through it, or what they would have to do. That's why I wanted to go ahead and call. And so I called last night, and she told me, she's like, well, I can't really give you much information, but we will be down there about Monday to view the tapes. And I was like, okay, well, I didn't know if you, contacted my manager, you already got hold of him, what he said, and she goes, yes, ma'am, we'll be down there Monday. And I was like, okay. And that's the only information she gave me.
I'm sure that you'd find it equally as concerning that as I do, that they would not be down there immediately when you're saying you've seen this little girl with the people who were arrested and she was alive. You would think that they would have been down there immediately. I'm sure that you feel the same.
Oh yeah, but I mean, they have a lot of tips coming in, and I do understand that too, and they got to follow every lead that they get, even if it is a dead end. And just like the tip today, I know about the pond and stuff, they got on that, and I'm glad they did that, too, but still yet, they need to, if they ain't got enough people working it, they could at least call Yadkinville Police Department. They could have came and viewed the tape, send it to them, get more counties involved where they could have a lot of manpower to get all these tips in, you know what I'm saying? So they can follow all the tips.
And that's a pretty big one. That's a pretty big one, and for you to remember the tattoo on his face and the little girl, and that you had an interaction with her. You're not just saying, I saw someone who looked like the baby. You clearly had an interaction with this child, which is why it would make sense to me to put this at the top of the priority list for the Sullivan County Police Department and come out there and go through those videos. So let's hope that they do get out there sooner than Monday, because that could be the difference between finding this beautiful little girl alive.
Yes, and I mean, and the way the grandma looks, and I mean, I'm not passing judgment on nobody, but the way the grandma looks, even the boyfriend, even her mom, they have to be on drugs. I mean, the mama's eyes are just like bugged out of her head, like she's on something, along with the grandma and the boyfriend. So
have you seen Maggie, which is Evelyn's mother, in person?
No, I've actually watched, I watched some videos of her today.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't watched any of the videos or nothing. I mean, and when she said that, she liked the applesauce package, that about broke my heart, because that's what I gave her the day she came in, and I'm like.
I did not see the interview where Maggie said that her daughter likes the applesauce packets.
Yeah, and like I said, I haven't played none of them until today, and I was just like shocked. I was like, oh my God.
Well,
I was like, that's so weird.
Have you called that piece of information into the lady that contacted you, that is part of the investigation, to say, I remember giving her an applesauce packet and... Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I told him that day when I called, I told him everything I remember, about what she was wearing, about her shoe, one shoe being on, the other one being off. About me giving her an applesauce packet, actually taking I told her everything. I even told her, I said, you come in, I can show you where they sat at. I was like, I remember. I mean,
I can't believe they haven't been out there yet.
I I mean, and they told me they wanted, because at first I wanted to keep my name out of it, but, the more I thought about it, if it helps getting it, done right now, I even told her, I said, I don't care if my name's in there or not. Just as long as y'all come down here and watch the videos, I don't care if my manager knows, I don't care who knows. I said, one of my manager already knows about it, so I really don't care. I mean, what happens, it happens. Yeah. But y'all need to get down here and watch the tapes.
Well, hopefully maybe some of our viewers that are watching can also contact the Sullivan County Sheriff's Office and ask them, to do that, because waiting 5 days in a situation like this when this girl has already been missing for 2 months seems like it's kind of dropping the ball to me. I'm not in law enforcement, but, to me that seems like it doesn't make any sense for them not to be out there immediately.
Oh, I know. And see, there's actually somebody actually shared a screenshot of a girl. I guess she commented on one of the news stations. Mm-hmm. I think it was last night. It might have been the comment. I know it was done last night. It was like right after her mom got arrested, I think it was. Mm-hmm. I actually have the screenshot on my phone where she said that. I'm going to read this to you to make sure I have it exactly right, what she said. And like I said, I have the screenshots. I will send them to you so you can post it.
Okay.
But she said that she found this little girl alive and safe.
Say that one more time.
She said she found the little girl alive and safe.
Found?
Yes. And then a few minutes later, her post or her comment was she deleted her comment.
I'm wondering if that's not somebody trolling on social media. I
know the girl lives in Shelby. I tried to add her last night to figure out, why she would say something like this, especially it being a little girl being missing. That's not something to play around with, troll or no troll. I mean, that's just, really rude. But this is what she said. She said, I found this little girl safe.
Yeah, I'd be interested to learn more about that person's profile.
And she lives in Shelby, North Carolina.
Now, how far, and you may not know the answer to this, how far is the KFC where you saw them from the area in South Carolina where they were arrested? Do you know?
Oh, no, they was arrested in North Carolina. They was arrested in Wilkesboro, North Carolina, I think at Windy Gap, which is probably about maybe an hour. Yeah, about an hour away, because you just, I can't see the pictures you share, but one of the pictures, it's kind of looking like at the car lot, and you see Taco Bell and stuff, and there's like a BP and a gas station. Mm-hmm. So right there past that BP is the cutoff. You turn right there and go straight down the highway, which is 421, and that takes you straight to Wilkes County, straight to where they were actually found, where actually they got pulled over and the car was found and they was arrested.
And that is where they were searching in Wilkes County today, where they were searching that pond based on a tip that they got.
Yes.
Well, again, Ashley, thank you so much for your time and for sharing what you do know. And, with all of this conversation that we've just had, I'm even more disturbed that they have not gotten down to that KFC to go through those videos. And I hope that our viewers will get on them to do that. I trust that they know what they're doing and they know how to do their job. But that's a huge tip. It's a huge tip. You have specific details, like you said, that you recall, that you share. And this is, like you said, on the way to the area where they were arrested and also the area where the pond is that they were searching today. So this needs to be followed up on. But again, I want to thank you so much for sharing what you do know with us.
I have one thing. I don't know if you've seen this or not on WJHL. They just kind of posted something about the grandma and the boyfriend, so you might want to investigate that a little bit more, what they're saying.
Is this breaking news?
It just hit about 19 minutes ago.
I will definitely check that out. Do you know what it is about?
I just know it's about court records showing police caught them. Something about a child twice in 4 months. So I don't really know criminal histories. That's all I know.
I read something earlier, ironically enough, they were posting about the criminal background of the grandmother and the grandmother's boyfriend. And apparently, there were charges on the grandmother for child neglect and leaving a child unattended in a vehicle, which she pled guilty to. I don't know when that was, but that stood out to me. And the people that she went to get bond said that they're like a regular customer there because that's how many times that they have been arrested and needed to post bond.
Yeah,
So,
and then the boyfriend has multiple assault charges against him.
against his ex-girlfriend, from what I understand, or his ex-wife has an order of protection against him, and he is the father of her children, correct?
That I don't know.
I think that's the case.
I don't know much about him. I just, like this is just what I just now seen, going through here. So, I mean, like I said, I have a feeling that, I hope she's still alive, but I just have a feeling that they done something to her. They know where she's at. They either dropped her off somewhere, sold her, or did something to her and, discarded the body. But I wouldn't put nothing past the grandma or the boyfriend. And I wouldn't put nothing past that the mama might have had something to do with it, because I'm sorry, if my child was missing for that long, my butt would have called that day.
Of course. And I've said the same thing, and everybody that I've seen who's been following this case has said the same thing. How do you go for 2 months without reporting your child missing? It doesn't make any sense.
Oh yeah, that's crazy. Heck, if my dog's missing for 2 days, I'm online posting animal shelters, looking at animal pictures, trying to find my fur babies too.
I understand. I had a dog that used to get out all the time, and the second that I realized he was gone, I was in the car driving around with a can of dog food and, in a panic, because that's, your fur baby, let alone could you imagine your child. So for someone to say for 2 months that they hadn't seen their kid and not call it in, that just screams of guilt of some kind.
Oh yes. And you can just kind of tell just by her demeanor, her actions. Like I said, everybody was talking about how she was like kind of laughing and stuff, smiling in the videos. And like I said, I ain't never watched them until today. I think I watched 2 of them today. One was from yesterday before she got locked up, and the other one I guess was like, I don't know when, I think the 21st.
Mm-hmm.
And they wasn't even lying. I was like, why are you smiling?
Yeah.
I'm like, and then she tries to cry, and I'm like, that's not even a real cry.
Yeah. And she, during the press conference today, Sheriff Cassidy with Sullivan County Police said that, someone had asked him, has she changed her story again since she's been in custody? And he said that she has changed her story literally every single time that we have spoken to her. So she has never told the same story twice. It's always changing.
I seen that interview too. I watched that too, and I seen that, and I was like, well, because she knows something about it. And she's just trying to put it off on her mom and her boyfriend. But I think all 3 of them had something to do with it. I even think her ex-boyfriend has something to do with it too, because he lied about not seeing that little girl. And there's a picture floating around Facebook of him, Megan, or Maggie, whatever, Maggie.
Megan, the same thing, yeah.
Yeah, but a picture of him and her and the baby.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, it was actually posted on one of them sites. I will try to find it for you, and I will send it to you.
That would be appreciated.
Yes, because somebody was like, how can he say he hasn't seen that child at all? And here's a picture of him and post the picture of him.
Interestingly enough, I covered this story on another video before we had, this new information. And he had said that he had dated Maggie, the mom, only for a few weeks back in December, and that it wasn't serious, and, it was off and on. But Maggie created a new Facebook profile back in October under the name Maggie Wood, which is his last name. His name is Hunter Wood. So this clearly is not true. You're not going to, and he was friends with that Facebook account also. So way back in October, before December ever rolled around, they were obviously serious enough for her to be using his last name. And there are pictures that I have verified of Hunter and Maggie from February 4th, where they're all cuddled up on the couch and had apparently spent the evening with Hunter's mother. So there is definitely more to that whole situation than they have said also. And when he was, asked about that, he said, I can't speak to anyone. So now he's not talking.
Yeah, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, it might have been on the 17. I can't remember, Fox 17 from that from up there to Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
I think Station 5. I can't remember exactly which one it was on,
mm-hmm.
but as soon as I find it, I will let you know, so you can also share that with everybody. Because like I said, there is a picture floating around one of them on comments on one of them posts that they shared, where they said, how could he say he hadn't seen her when here's a picture of all three of them together. Now, when the picture was taken, I don't know. I even tried to look for the boyfriend's page.
He took it down.
He took it down, yeah. I was like, I would have too. I was like, you could tell he was lying too in the interview, because I did see his interview.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, you're lying. I was like, how are you going to date somebody and they have a kid, and then you say, well, she said it was with her daddy, but yeah, you got a picture with her.
Right. The other thing that was interesting that was not verified but has been floating around is that on Maggie's Instagram, she had posted a photo of a new home that was being built that apparently she was building with Hunter, the ex-boyfriend, right? Again, it hasn't been verified, but it did come from her Instagram account. It is now taken down, but a lot of people have asked, whether or not they have looked at the new construction, and I hate to say this, but looked at the new construction for any signs of Evelyn there. But clearly, there are a lot of lies. I feel like, and this is pure speculation on my part, but I almost feel like they're all kind of either involved or they all know what happened. And at some point, they're going to turn against each other, and that's where they're going to start talking.
Oh, okay. Oh, wait. The Facebook that you was talking about,
Mm-hmm.
or the Instagram that you was talking about, if I ain't badly mistaken, the picture might have been on there. I'm actually, like I said, I'm going to try to find the picture, and her Instagram is still up.
Yeah, but it's private.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't know who got one of her friends must have got it off there or something. But yes, and there's actually one comment on I think Instagram, mm-hmm. where she said that kids were horrible.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. That was a post. She was in a group to sell baby things, and she had said something like, I have I want to say, I don't know how old her siblings are, but she named the ages of her siblings, and then of course Evelyn, and she said it's horrible or something like that. Having having so many kids or whatever.
Well, I don't know about her, but I got 5 kids, and I mean, they're all ages 13, 12, 9, 6, and 5, or 7 and 5.
Got your hands full.
Oh, yeah. They fight. I mean, they constantly fight. I got 3 boys and 2 girls. I mean, they all butt heads at point in times, but I mean, I wouldn't trade my kids for anything. I mean, yeah. I mean, being a parent, especially with that many kids, it's nerve-wracking from time to time. I mean, but can you just go and, kind of just sit down and just, just kind of find your quiet space, just for a minute,
Hide in the bathroom.
Yeah, well, I can't hide in my bathroom. I don't know about any other mamas, but they tend to find it. I bought outside my truck, and they still find me.
And you know what? You wouldn't have it any other way, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, it's like they got GPS or something. I mean.
And that's how it's supposed to be. So when you hear something like this where a mother is gone for 2 months, Christmas has passed, the first Christmas that Evelyn would have really been interacting and opening presents, there's nothing about that. She doesn't miss her. I mean,
the one video that came yesterday said that her mom took her before Christmas.
Now, something interesting also is that, and I stated this earlier before you called in, Maggie's grandfather, which is which is Angela, the grandmother's father, he said that Angela, grandma, had been staying with him for 2 weeks in early February. And he said during that time that Maggie and her boyfriend Hunter basically were there almost every single day to visit with her mother, to visit with grandma. And Evelyn was not there at all. And his wife had said, please bring Evelyn out. We'd love to see the baby. And she just wouldn't do it. So that raises some red flags to me. Why are you spending so much time with someone who has your baby and refuses to give your baby back?
Yeah. I don't understand that. And I would like to hear from the one that actually called her mama and told her, look, if you don't bring, Evelyn back right now, we're going to report it. And then her saying whatever, I can't remember what she said.
You're going to regret that. Don't do that. You'll regret that.
Yes. I would like to hear from him. I mean, I don't know if he's been on, anybody's interviewed him, but I would like to hear from him, then words come out of his mouth that she actually said that.
He did say that on an interview. You can look it up online. It was very short, but I have some questions I would love to ask him. His name is Tommy Boswell Sr. One of the questions that I wanted to ask is that he had said he had not seen Maggie and Evelyn since Thanksgiving. So, and he wasn't in touch with them. So I'm wondering, how did he know that Evelyn hadn't been home? Because if the grandmother was involved, it's not like she would be like, oh, Evelyn hasn't been home in 2 months. She just wouldn't say anything. I'm curious to know how he knew that.
Yeah, that's a very good question. Unless Maggie confided in him about it, like, hey, mom took her and hadn't been back with her. I can't get a hold of her. She won't bring her back. Can you try to see if you can get a hold of her? Maybe, I don't know. We don't know this, how he kind of found out about this. But yeah, that's kind of weird. I mean, it's all suspicious. The whole family, them, all of it. Tommy, her, the boyfriend, the ex-boyfriend, and grandma. I mean,
and even the boyfriend Hunter's mom. I mean, she owned the vehicle that they reported stolen, which, that was strange. There's a whole big web here that needs to be untangled, but I really, really hope that the Sullivan County Sheriff's Office and TBI will get out there to that KFC ASAP and not wait until Monday to go through these videos, because that's too long.
Yeah, I mean, and even if they need help, I mean, we have good detectives and sheriffs up here that would be more than glad, to help them out, come and look at them, you know what I'm saying? I mean, because they need to expand to Wilkes County, Sheriff's Office, Yadkin County Sheriff's Office, and where all the other tips are, and have them help so they can have more manpower to do all the tips that need to be done.
Sure, I agree with that. You may even want to reach out to local law enforcement and advise them that you did provide this tip to TBI and ask them if they're able to assist in maybe pulling those videos and reviewing them for Sullivan County. They may actually do that if you mention it.
Yeah, I'll probably do that tomorrow. Or I don't know what time I got to work in the morning, but I think it's 9:30. But I will sure contact them. I mean, because something needs to be done. I mean, because I even thought when they told me the same thing, I'm like, why wait that long?
It's a long time.
Been down there right then and there, hey, I need to see your videotapes like right now. I mean,
that's 5 days.
Let me see it,
That's 5 days. That's a long time. And, if it were a tip where somebody called in and said, oh, I have a feeling she may have been there, that's different. But this is a legitimate tip. Like I said, you recall an interaction with these people, and it's on the way to Wicks County and where they were arrested with the vehicle and where they're now searching the pond. So this is a legitimate tip. This needs to be followed up on.
Yes, and see, that's 6 days they're waiting, to come and view the tapes.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's actually 6 days because I called Tuesday and told them that there's surveillance tapes. I mean, there's cameras all right there where you can actually see, I mean, the front counter and everything. And they're waiting 6 days. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's too much. I agree with you. Well, thank you again, Ashley. I really appreciate you taking time to talk with us and tell us what you know. And we will definitely be following up on this. So any information that you have, please share with us. And again, like I said, we really appreciate you taking time to talk with us.
Oh yes, and I mean because I'll be working Monday too, so and I'll be working the rest of this week on Saturday. So if they do come, I will be sure to let everyone know because I know I got a lot of people message me on Facebook commenting and stuff. There's actually a post going around right now that I want to clarify real fast.
Sure.
That somebody shared some of my comments on the post that I posted on, and then that there's video confirming the little girl. They have not had time to come look at the video, so there's nothing confirming anything yet until they come and watch it. And I messaged her to let her know that her statement was false, and I didn't appreciate it.
Well, that's a good clarification. I'm sure that people don't really mean to put misinformation and they think they're helping, but it is, like you said, it is very important to make sure that we are only putting out the facts and that we are very detailed in what those facts are, because one word being said can change the entire picture of what is put out there to the public. So thank you for clarifying on that.
Oh, yes, I do want to clarify on that because I didn't even know there was one going around until my husband showed me.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that you did clarify on that. Please do let us know if law enforcement is able to get out there before Monday. And again, thank you so much for joining us today.
You're more than welcome.
All right. Definitely interesting. I really hope that investigators and police officers and TBI will get on that and go look for those videos and not wait until Monday, because that's a long time away. Again, I just want to zoom in here again one more time. This is Evelyn Boswell, the beautiful little 15-month-old baby girl that has been missing for 2 months, and she is now reported missing as of a week ago. Please share the video on your page or, take screenshots if you wish of baby Evelyn. Let's get her picture out there as much as we can and see what we can do. We will update as we get more information. So thank you. Please follow us on YouTube and Facebook, Crime 411.